everyone. Welcome back. My name is Stassi. Thank you so much for being here today. I'm so excited because I have Miss Niki here and I love Plain Jane. So thank you so much for coming here today.
I'm glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much for coming. We were just saying, like, I might feel a little rusty, guys. It's been a minute since I've done one of these interviews, but I'm so excited you're here. So, Niki, why don't you start us off? Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Okay, so his name's Niki. I live in South Africa and I am 30 something years old and I got two kids. I'm married and my absolute number one pastime is playing Sims and creating my story.
I love it. How long have you been playing Sims for?
I'd say 20 years to be safe. I started playing as a teen and it was Sims 1 and I have systematically gone through all of the Sims games as they have come out and so Sims 4.
I love that. I started playing in '03. I was 10 and it's hooked me ever since. Like I just love playing. Now I have to ask, I've played most of the iterations. I haven't really played a lot of Sims 3, but what's your favorite iteration of The Sims?
I think I really am enjoying Sims 4. I've struggled with each transition.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever you changed over because you're like, sorry, my bird is talking.
That's okay.
I have. Okay, hold on.
Yeah.
Here we go. Sorry, this is Pikachu. He's feeling left out.
Oh, first time ever, guys. We got a bird. We got a bird today. Oh my goodness.
There we go. Sorry about that. When I start talking animatedly, he starts talking animatedly. So it's just better if he's here with me. So as I was saying, when transitioning over to the new Sims, it's always difficult. But I really love what Sims has become. And so Sims 4 is by far my favorite, hands down. And it's just so damn expensive.
Oh, that's an understatement. It's so expensive. Did you get the high school pack?
I haven't got it yet. I'm probably only going to be able to get it at Christmas. It's just, I just can't afford it. I don't have the wedding pack. I don't have the werewolves pack. It's just keep coming out. And it's like, I can't afford them all. So I'm holding off till Christmas to get any more.
Hey, I totally get you. It's really expensive. The only reason I'm getting it sooner is just because my birthday is next week. And I've literally just asked it for my birthday. And that's all I'm getting. Because I did get my wedding stories. It's nice. Mm-hmm. I'm sure just like you, do not use the gameplay. I'm sure you use a lot of the build buy. Am I right to feel that way?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do. Yeah.
I don't have werewolf, but I'll definitely be getting, my best friends gave me werewolf for my birthday and my fiance is getting me high school stories. Okay, I got to ask you this because you kind of touched upon it. Do you feel like EA is just really just rushing out these packs?
It does, more than ever. They seem like they are just kind of spilling out there. And so It is hard to kind of keep up. And I feel like also they're coming out quicker than they're fixing the flaws of the previous ones, which that's a frustration. Since this last update, my game is, I've never had so many problems. I think since Sims 3, I had a lot of problems with Sims 3, but it's been absolutely crazy. And so and I read online, all these people, they're in the same boat as me. Mm-hmm. And so it does seem like they are they're pushing this rate, because a lot of speculation is that they're trying to get it all out so they can start Sims 5 apparently.
Yeah.
But I'm like, well, if at this rate, I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to do Sims 5.
No, oh my God, I totally agree with you. There's no way. So say they're like EA, because there's a big game summit coming up really soon. So there could be a teaser trailer for Sims 5. If say it came out next summer, I would wait a year to buy it because I don't want to just buy the game. I want expansions to go with it. And I want to make sure that there are no bugs. Cause I posted on Instagram, I'm sure everybody saw the same warning. They're like, oh yeah, there's an anti-aging problem or auto age up. I literally threw my computer lid down, threw it out the window because there was no way I was going to turn on my game for any of my Rose Chronicles characters. They cannot age up.
Yeah.
I have elders who could have died that would have ruined the story. There was absolutely, I didn't even touch it for a week. Cause like my fiance's like, oh, like I'm like, nope. I was making reels instead. I was like, no way. I am not doing that. But the problem, because I posted, I made a cheeky joke this week on Instagram. It was a picture of Gordon Ramsay and when he's like in Hell's Kitchen and he's like, this meal is so unfinished that EA tried to release it. And I truly feel that
I saw that.
I'm like, these like they're rushing out like they've already announced the 2 next kits. One was announced last week, one was announced yesterday. Like EA, like maybe read the room a little bit. That like maybe we just need a minute.
Yeah.
Like at this point, EA and Marvel are going tit for tat for how fast they can push out content. Because the thing is quantity versus quality. I would rather quality over quantity. And I understand they're a business and they need to make money. But you're going to start losing your fans because your quality is not there. And like, I don't think you're a console player, right?
No, PC.
Okay. Yeah, PC. Okay. So like kits are really just meant for kind of console players who need that stuff because they can't have CC. But I would honestly give my left arm for a stuff pack at this point because I'm tired of all these kits. Like no more kits. We have enough kits. Just, something else. Anyways, that was my soapbox about what's going on. Hopefully let's hope for a better 2023 because I feel like they're going to do the same stuff because we're just about to end. No, Q3 would end September. So we're halfway through Q3. Q4 would be September to December. Like what do you think what other packs do you think they're going to release this year?
Oh goodness. I'm not sure because I didn't see the high school one coming. I was actually quite surprised by that. I think because there hasn't been that before, so they could come up with anything at this rate. I mean, I don't really play the supernatural ones a lot, but it seems like there is like a big push for that. So I don't know, maybe they'd come up with the fairies one again because people seem to really love the fairies in Sims 3. So and that might be the case where when Sims 3, like they had it all together, it's like all your supernaturals. And now it seems like maybe they're just like slowly like, they found a niche. And so that's why vampires and werewolves separately. So I don't know. That's kind of what I think, but I'm not sure.
You know how we know that Sims 4 is coming to an end when they give us horses, fairies, and drivable cars. We get those 3 things. We know Sims 4 is done. It's all now Sims 5. Now I want to ask you this, storyteller to storyteller, what packs do you like? I know you use a lot of CC. I use a lot of CC, but what packs are really good for anyone who wants to start being a storyteller?
I'm just trying to think like what. Okay, so I'm actually relatively new to CC. I've actually only been doing it for 6 months. So I was never did CC before. So I really, really like a lot of the base game stuff. There's some decent content there. I love the cottage living stuff. Oh, the cottage living. It's like, to me, that was like the best thing they've ever done. I'm going to have to kill my bird before this interview is done. He's going for my earrings, so I'm going to just remove that. Sorry.
It's okay.
But yeah, so I absolutely love that stuff for the build mode things. I'm trying to think like what are the other ones that I use a lot of. Trying to think what the packs are. They all kind of blend together after a while, and then you're like, okay, what actually came with what?
Oh, yeah.
So I know that cottage living though. So
no, I agree. I like cottage living. I really like seasons. I find that really a lot of good items in there. I definitely like Parenthood for the packs.
Yeah.
And for stuff, I like Tiny Living because you get a lot of stuff.
Love Tiny Living.
No, I also like Strangerville, just because I love the build by. I love the doors. I love the windows. Very good for storytelling, especially if you're kind of going for that type of style, like any type of like an older home or a castle. They have like the most perfect windows for that.
Yeah.
Now, let's talk about Plain Jane. So like I saw that because I was on your Instagram and you describe yourself as not the author but the creator of it. Do you want to elaborate on that a little bit more?
Sure. So Plain Jane is very closely based on the classic novel Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte, which was written in the 1800s. And so that's my all-time favorite story, all time. And so I wanted to do a recreation of it. So put it into modern times and retell it. So when I say I'm the creator of the modern version. I have reworded a lot of the words there. There's some instances where I'm quoting directly from the book, but majority of the time I'm trying to make it more naturally modern. It's still got kind of like that Britishy kind of feel to it. Oh, at least I think it does. Says the American South African. So, I could be completely off and just, ignorant, but so that's why I say I'm the creator of it. But ultimately, the storyline, the plot, it doesn't belong to me. That's Charlotte Bronte, and I feel like I couldn't come close to her type of talent. I just really adore her writing.
No, I love it. Now, what have you made any drastic changes from the source material to what you've created?
I think I had to do some big changes because in the story, the original story, he was basically in a workhouse, and we don't have orphanage workhouses like they did in the 1800s, and so that's why I tried to twist it to a children's home. So not quite orphanage, but more nonprofit, and then from there into foster care, where she never got out of the workhouse. In the book, she grew up there, and so I had to try to make that change into a modern day setting, where her situation changes in the book. That's better after her friend dies, but yet she still remains there. And so I wanted to alter that, where that children's home was shut down completely and her better situation was going into a caring foster family. So that was the change that I've made. There probably will be some more, but I don't want to give those away just yet because I'm only halfway through the story.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So how do you lay out your chapters? Like, how do you set everything up? Like, do you write it first and then do you take a chapter, you condense it to how you're going to tell it in the Sims, and then do you do the photos? Do your photos ever okay. So for Rose Chronicles, everything is posed and staged. So there's no free motion anymore. I have poses for everything. I'm talking sitting, head turn, emotion. That's just how I can wham through them quickly. Do you also do the same way with lots of poses, or do you sometimes let your Sims take the moment?
So it is definitely a mixture. Sorry, feathers. So to go back to the original part of the question is, so I'll read the chapter, which I've read so many times. And actually in doing this, I'm probably reading the book twice over just by doing this. So I'll go through the chapter and then I will write out the scenes and I will actually number each slide that I want it to look like.
Okay.
And I will write the narration and I'll write then who's speaking. And then when I'll see, okay, okay, this is not going to fit onto one post. And it's like, turn the page. And then I start writing out the next one. And so I'll create my chapters like that. And then I will go into game. Mm-hmm. And I will set up the poses and everything like that. Some of the conversation scenes, I'll let them kind of just like flow with their in-game animations, and I will just screenshot that. It's just sometimes I just know what that looks like, so I know that it'll work. But I have been using a lot of poses, but there will be times where I won't even have like this last couple of scenes with the fortune teller.
Yeah,
I didn't have the poses. I didn't have the tarot cards. I didn't have any of that until after I'd written out the script. And I'm like frantically looking on Tumblr and on Google Images, like, okay, I need something to make this work. I hope there's something out there. So there's quite often times where I am last minute trying to find poses to fit my scenes that I've already written. So
you're preaching to the fucking choir, my friend. I will sit there and I'll write and I'll be like, the pose even doable? We'll figure it out later. It's fine. I'll get to that. I'm like, oh fuck, I didn't figure this out. Yeah. I've gotten really good at like making fake poses by doing the like other things, if that makes sense. So like there's this pack and it's called Depression, but they do this as I can't actually do it because I have headphones on.
Yes.
But so yeah, but instead of that being, I'll be like, that's loud. What is that? Instead of it being like sad. I definitely become a lot more creative. Now, something I want to ask that I've started recently doing, do you do it when you take the photos and everything, do you do it in chronological order, or do you do it like scene by scene?
For the most part, I do it in chronological order. There have been a couple of times where I know that they're going to be back into this scene. And so I just go ahead and take because I've already written out stuff, but I kind of like doing it, like taking the screenshot as I know I want to pose them. Okay. That way, whenever I go into my screenshots file, it's like they're all already in order. So I don't have to like sift through them and like, oh, wait. Oh yeah, that was for. And I've been also trying not to take so many screenshots because I will take like 15 to 20 screenshots for one pose. And I'm like, this is just making my time for editing so much longer. So now like I'll get them I'm like, okay, click. All right, done. Next one. I'm like, I won't even take any more. So I've kind of gotten it down a bit. So it's not so much.
How do you edit, if you don't mind me asking?
So I use the online free editing thing, Pixlr. So Pixlr. Mm-hmm. And it actually works really well because again, I don't have Photoshop. I don't, and so to try to afford Sims and then to afford, photo editing software, it's just too much. And so I wanted to ultimately do as much as I can free. Mm-hmm. I was at one point when I first started. So before I started the Jane Eyre one, when I was doing a gameplay story, I was just editing them on my phone with, the phone's editing stuff. And that was crazy. So as soon as I switched over to my desktop and started editing like that, I was like, oh, this is so much better. So I'm happy about that.
Oh, I got you. I have Photoshop because I was a graphic design student. I still had my graphic design.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Student card. So I was able to do I was able to get the Adobe student pricing, but that's like $45 a month to just have that photo editing software. But what I find myself doing now is I'll actually just make things in Photoshop that I can't actually do. So like for an example, like a takeout bag, there's no way I can get what I want. So I'll just take a picture of a blank table, PNG all this shit out, be like, there we go, create a label. There you go. No, but like, I like that. Like to be a sim storyteller, you don't have to pay out the nose if you choose not to. Yeah. You're able to do it for free. Yeah. And I think that's something that's really important as well, to know that there are both options out there. It's like, you don't have to pay hundreds of dollars a month to be able to do something that you love. You can do it for the low price of $0. Now I have to ask this. Who is your favorite character? Mm-hmm.
In my story?
Yeah, in your story. Obviously. Yeah.
In my story.
Yeah.
See, I feel like the obvious answer would be Jane because, she's the heroine. But I don't know. I really like Mr. Rochester. I feel like he is trouble and he is sex appeal and
oh yeah, he definitely got some sex appeal, my friend.
Yeah. So he's got this smoldering intensity that it's like, there's secrets there. And it's like, you want to know more about him. You want to get, and yet he verges a little bit on the line of being a toxic person, but at the same time, he's redeemable and there's more to him. And so I get so nervous when I'm telling the story, especially with the scenes where now these other people have come to visit him and he apparently is not sticking up for Jane and all this kind of stuff. And I'm like, I hope the readers aren't just hating him because, there's more to him than just this scene. So he's my favorite.
I agreed. Okay. I'm biased. I always like a hero. I like Jane. Now, something I do want to say, there's two things that I really noticed about your story right on. I love how you start with like the title, it's like the title of the story and chapter, let's say chapter 19, part 1 or part 2, part 3, part 4.
Right.
I really like how you do that. So it's actually easy to manage and know what you're reading and making sure it's in chronological order. I love that. And something that I noticed as well, you do a lot of is you put trigger warnings to a lot of stuff. Now, the reason I want to ask you this, do you get called out for not putting trigger warnings in, or are you being cautious?
No, I think I'm being cautious because I'm trying to take a page from other people's books because I know that there's people who've been doing this a lot longer than me. And I mean, I've been on Simstagram for a year now.
Yeah.
And so this whole community, this whole way of telling stories through Sims is very new to me. And I see a lot of people do that. I see some overly excessive trigger warnings, like, okay, that's just, do we really need a trigger warning for that? And so I thought, well, let me just err on the side of caution with some of the bigger things like child death or child abuse and those type of things, because I don't want anyone to turn around and actually be upset by things. But I think I have noticed that I haven't been as diligent as putting trigger warnings, but no one has said anything to me. So I'm just going to carry on. And if I feel like it's something intense, then I'll put it there just as a precaution.
I agree. Like, I like that. Like, I don't really put trigger warnings on stuff. Like, I think there was like the one time I wrote like an 18A. I was like, this is for adults, but there was just like, yeah, but your story's not for children. And I'm like, you got this, kiddo. Nowhere in the story is for children. Now, do you ever get people messaging you saying, I don't like this storyline, you should change it?
Amazingly not. And I've spoken to a couple of people who they've had a lot of backlash. And so I'm I have this kind of attitude. If anybody does contact me about that kind of stuff, I'm like, you don't have to follow me. You don't have to read my story. You're not paying my bills. This is my way of having fun and, using my creativity. So, so I've imagined these conversations, but they've never taken place. So I'm prepared.
I definitely, I get them once in a while. They'd be like, your storytelling is too slow. And I'm like, well, this is a long process, man. You either follow me or you don't. Goodbye, the end. Or they'd be like, I don't like Alexa with Oliver. Like, he's an adult. She's a child. It's weird. And I'm like, okay, goodbye. Like, if you don't want it, goodbye. Like, I don't care. It's you do you. I used to get a lot of like, oh, are you going to post like multiple times a week? And now I do. And now they're like, oh my God, you post a lot. And I'm like, I know I do. I had someone
everyone.
No, I had someone ask me if I would post every day. Somebody actually asked me that, and I said, no. It would. I that would have to be my only full time. It would take me 50 hours a week just to do 1 week for everything.
Yeah. No. So when I started this, I wanted to have the goal of posting Monday to Friday. That was what I wanted to do. And I think I even say it somewhere in one of my story highlights.
Yeah.
But I quickly realized that I can't. I have a life. I have kids. I have, stuff that I got to do. And in this day and age, it's like so much going on, and especially with having kids, I've got to take them to school. I got to pick them up. I've got to take them to their extra murals. I got to take them to sports. I've got to, I'm like going crazy. And so weekends are literally the only time that I can sit and either write out the scripts, because I don't have the whole book done. I don't have the whole story written out yet. I'm kind of doing it as I go. And I take my screenshots, do the edits, put them all together. And so I'll find myself where like I've posted once or twice in the week. And you know what? I just had to come to the point where, who am I doing this for? Am I doing this for the people out there who I don't know, that I've never met, who, yes, they are enjoying my story, and yeah, but I'm ultimately I'm doing this for me. This is my creative outlet. This is my, hobby. And so I've just decided that no, I want to do it often, but if I can't, I do it as I can.
See, I know you said you're new to the Sim Instagram storyteller community. You just fucking nailed it on the head. If you don't have an existential crisis of who are you posting this for within 6 months of starting, you're not a Simstagram storyteller. I had the same thing. I remember when I first started, because Instagram algorithm deems our posts heavy because they're 10 slides. So they don't get as much traction as people who have 1 or 2 pictures. So they get pushed aside. So either you have to go fishing for followers, or you have to hope that your readers share your stuff. And I remember at the beginning of this, I was like, no one's reading this. I'm putting so much time into this. Like, who am I doing it for? And my fiance's like, you're doing it for you. Right?
Yeah.
And I said, I am doing it for me. And he's like, good. And when you stop doing it for you, then stop doing it, because you're doing it for you. And I'm like, that's right. Because I will sit and have a hard week and I'll just be like, oh my God, like I get to play Sims all weekend and just be creative. It's literally just what I have left to be a creative outlet. Right.
Exactly.
What advice would you give to anybody wanting to start their own Instagram story?
The whole do it for you would be the number one thing. I would say you don't have to be perfect. You don't have to be a published writer or somebody who even, has written anything before. I'd say just start, just do it for fun and see where it goes. And ultimately that's where it's going to take. So I love to write, but I've been so terrified to get out there because, I never studied writing. I, wasn't that great at English at school, but, I was like, I still like, wait, what's a preposition again? So like things like that. It's like, and it held me back for so long. And then it would be a case of like, oh no, I'll start writing when my kids are bigger, or I'll take a course, when I have more time, and then I'll write, because I got all these ideas in my head, and it was just holding me back. And so I said, just take that first step, just do it, and do it for the fun of it and enjoy it.
Now I have to ask this. Do you still have the panic? I still have panic every time you post like the next chapter a little bit. Do you have that like 10 seconds of being like, I hope they like it? Do you get that as well?
There is also the excitement, like, oh, I have a comment. Oh, someone commented, and there is definitely a satisfaction level to see people enjoying your story. I think that there might be an element of like, well, if I had like 1 or 2 people maybe liking my post, then it might be a little bit, it might be a lot deflating, because you are doing it on a public platform. It's not like I'm writing it in a notebook or on my computer and just leaving it there. I am doing it publicly. And so, there's definitely I hope people like it. I'd be quite devastated if they didn't.
I got you. I remember being like, please like my things. No, I'm satisfied where I fall. I'm sure you're satisfied. Now, I get this question all the time. What's the biggest thing you learned from the prologue to your latest chapter? What's something you wish you knew when you started your prologue versus what you know now?
So, how time consuming it actually is, because before, when I was just doing gameplay story, it was, kind of was winging it and just sharing my story as I went. So I've definitely learned that it is time consuming. But also I'm learning a lot more about the things that other people have created in the sense of custom content and poses and stuff, where, like I said before, I'm very new to that kind of stuff. I mean, like I said, I've been playing Sims for 20 years, but I've been using mods and CC and poses for a year. Yeah. So I think I've learned a lot about what there's, out there to offer that I never knew before. And I'm able to incorporate that into my story. So yeah.
I like it. What Instagram storytellers inspire you?
There's so many. Okay. So I think I have different levels of it. I have
Lay it on me.
There's some big stories out there that I love. And when I've tried to message these people and just to, share my appreciation for their story, it's like, I never hear from them. I comment, they never comment back. And I'm like, okay, so you're big, you're great, but you can't even interact with, your readers. So I'll still read their story, but I'm less likely now to even bother commenting on their post. But so the people who I really, really love, as kind of the community and also for their story, is Mother of Royal Sims. She's fantastic. She writes a fantastic story where all the kingdoms or all the worlds are kingdoms. So I love her. Okay, I'm really sorry if I say their name or their username wrong. Here Crim Sims. She writes a fantasy story about a vampire and parallel universes, and we've had a lot of witty banter between the two of us. She'll comment on my stuff, I'll comment on hers, and we I think joke a lot. And we've never even met, and so she's also been very inspiring to me. And then also Kristen.Sims, she writes the story. You interviewed her before.
Yes.
Tim. Yeah, love. Yes. Yeah. We've interacted a lot just on our DMs, and been very encouraging, to me, and so she's up there as well, and her story is just very inspiring and very brilliant. How she has told a fictionalized version of her own personal life, and so she's definitely one of the most inspirational people that I've come across.
Love it. Now I want to hear your 30-second elevator pitch for Plain Jane. No pressure.
Okay. All right. I can do this with no pressure.
No pressure.
All right. So Plain Jane is a story of a girl who, though born into a wealthy family, was cast aside, and she has had battle after battle, a hard life, experienced loss on multiple levels. And through it all, she is determined to find herself and find her way in the world. And nothing is going to stand in her way. And now she faces true love, potentially, and it seems like it might be the biggest challenge of all. It was less than 30 seconds.
10 out of 10. Love it. Please, everyone, go check out Plain Jane. Niki, where can we find your story?
So it's my handle is Fancifuldreamer on Instagram. It's currently the only place that I'm sharing my story. But yeah, so Fancifuldreamer, one word.
Perfect. Links are going to be below. Niki, I want to say thank you so much for coming today, taking time of your busy day and being here. I had such a pleasure getting to know you and getting to know a little bit more about Plain Jane. Is there anything else you want to share with us?
Just want to say thank you to all of the amazing people who are on this community. Thank you to you for, what you do and interacting with all of us. And it's actually, it brings us more together because we actually get to know each other on a realer level, not just through each other's stories or through some DMs. And so I've really loved this community and love being part of it.
Oh my God, absolutely. I have my Sims friends who I'm actually closer with than some of my real friends. Because I talk to them every day because we all have the same common interest of the Sims. My girlfriends, I love them. They're my ride or die. I will take a bullet for all of them. but they all have their own individual interests that like none of us have the same 4 interests.
Yeah.
So that's why I was like, let's create this. And like, there are people I talk to on a day-to-day basis. I'm like, oh, I love talking to these guys, but I've only ever really had positive experiences in the Sims community.
No, same here.
Yeah,
same
right.
Here.
Especially okay, let me clarify. The Sims Instagram community, amazing.
Yes.
Other platforms, not so much. But our Instagram platform, amazing. Anyways, Niki, it's been an absolute pleasure. Like I said, please go follow Niki. The links are going to be below. Follow Plain Jane. It's a fantastic story. You definitely won't be disappointed. And Jane, thank you again. Oh my God, Jane. Niki, thank you so much again. Yep, there we go. Rusty, guys, a little rusty. Thank you so much for coming here today. And like I said, you're welcome. You're welcome back anytime. And it has been a blast getting to know you today.
Thanks. And same with you.
Oh my gosh. Well, you have a great rest of your day. Okay.
You also.
Okay.
Bye.